Hi there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. Hi folks, know anyone who can kick Godzilla's butt, and that too with poise and grace? We do, and it's Mothra, the queen of monsters. She's the only Toho kaiju other than Godzilla to have appeared more than once in MonsterVerse films in full-fledged roles. In the recently released Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, Mothra arrived just in time to fight on the side of the good in a monster civil war and saved the world from another ice age, and in the process knocked some sense into Godzilla, who, can be unreasonably stubborn sometimes. Monster heads are ecstatic about Mothra's return, considering she died in 2019's King of the Monsters, and we're here to tell you all about the mystical biology of this Titan Queen and explore the new powers and abilities she displayed in Godzilla x Kong. Let's begin, shall we? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. So, who is Mothra? Hello. Mothra doesn't need an introduction, but for those who need a refresher, Mothra is one of Toho's original creations, Toho being the Japanese production company that birthed the Godzilla franchise, which was later adapted in Hollywood as a shared universe known as the Monsterverse. In Toho history, Mothra made her first appearance in the eponymous 1961 movie, which depicted this moth kaiju as the guardian goddess of Infant Island in the South Pacific Ocean. Mothra was worshipped by the island's natives and could be summoned by the Shobijin, twin fairies, who sang a unique song and communicated with humans on Mothra's behalf. They had a telepathic connection with Mothra, which is mirrored in MonsterVerse through human characters, such as the twin sisters Dr. Eileen and Dr. Ling in the 2019 movie King of the Monsters, and more recently the orphan girl Gia in Godzilla x Kong. MonsterVerse depicts Mothra to be from a lineage of protective Lepidopteran titans and classifies her as Titaness Mozura, which means giver of life in an exotic Indonesian dialect. This ancient guardian has a reputation for being fiercely protective about Earth and maintaining nature's balance. While in Toho universe, Mothra came from Infant Island. The 2019 MonsterVerse movie established that Mothra's giant egg was discovered in 2009 by the Titan specializing organization Monarch inside the ruins of a long-lost temple located in China's Yunnan rainforest called the Temple of the Moth. She was defender of the ancient Iwi tribe that coexisted on Skull Island with Kong until a deadly storm wiped out the civilization. Mothra's OG deity-like repute throughout history is retained in MonsterVerse. As Godzilla x Kong revealed, the Yunnan Forest Temple wasn't the only shrine dedicated to her. A new Mothra temple is discovered within Hollow Earth, which conceals an entirely new Iwi settlement, reinforcing Mothra's role as the defender of the Iwis. As the Queen of Monsters, Mothra shares a mystical relationship with the King of the Monsters, Godzilla. She aided the G-Man in the past during King Ghidorah's emergence, and also during the ancient Titan War that was recently revealed was orchestrated by Scar King. Throughout her Toho career, Mothra sacrificed herself time and again to save Godzilla from deadly fates, something which she repeated in King of the Monsters. Mothra willingly charred to death and transformed her luminous life essence to Godzilla, resurrecting him into an invincible form. In Godzilla x Kong, another incarnation of Mothra returned to tell Godzilla that he needs to stop attacking Kong and start being allies, because a bigger threat, Scar King, needs to be defeated. What does Mothra look like? Mothra's relationship with Godzilla is mirrored in her MonsterVerse design, as the eye-like patterns on the corners of her wings were crafted to represent Godzilla's eyes. When she first hatched in a larva form in the Yunnan forest, she measured almost 16 meters in height with the appearance of a giant segmented caterpillar, or a silkworm. Neon blue bioluminescent glows outlined her body, which quickly turned to orange and red hues when she felt threatened. The larval Mothra had short, pincer-like mandibles, which vibrated in sync with her silk attacks. Even in her larva form, she looked pretty scary when she attacked with her pointy, crusty legs, unlike the Toho version, which had smaller limbs. Once Mothra hatched from her cocoon, she transformed into a gorgeous titan who boasts a wingspan of 245 meters. To make her a realistic insect kaiju, Mothra was assigned a set of 6 spiked legs with sharp endings and a pair of fur-laced compound wings, each comprising of a larger segment in the front and a smaller segment at the back. She also has 2 majestic white antennae and glowing blue, oval-shaped eyes. Traditionally, Mothra was portrayed with the colors orange, black, and yellow, and faint, muted tones of these colors were also featured in the MonsterVerse design. What stands out the most is her striking blue glow as seen in King of the Monsters, something which illuminated Godzilla from within after Mothra gave him her life essence. The Godzilla x Kong incarnation of Mothra looks identical to her 2019 predecessor, but with much thicker fur, kind of making her look wiser and a bit more savage. And now she has a bright golden glow instead of the former neon blue illumination. The blue does appear in the form of bioluminescent strips and spots around her body. The 2019 Mothra was also equipped with a secret stinger located in her abdomen. King of the Monsters director Michael Dougherty joked that he liked the possibility of the stinger doubling up as an ovipositor. What are the implications of Mothra's life cycle stages on her physical and combative abilities? Analyzing Mothra's life cycle stages will inevitably bring us to the often asked question, what came first, the egg or Mothra? As a lepidopteran species, Mothra is birthed from an egg into her larval form, which enshrouds itself in a silken cocoon, only to emerge in her adulthood in the winged, moth-like imago form. Mothra reproduces independently, without the requirement of a mate, an asexual process through which she lays sometimes two and sometimes just a single egg. This is not surprising, as in real life, some moth species reproduce through parthenogenesis, a process in which the embryo develops inside the egg without any external fertilization. While moths and butterflies typically lay hundreds or thousands of eggs, Mothra retains the exclusivity of her kind by producing just one or two eggs, to ensure the progeny's better survival, and thus carrying forward the eternal cycle of life and death. In Monsterverse, a Mothra egg is gargantuan and covered in blue and yellow waves. After hatching from an egg, Mothra's larval form would require to consume humongous amounts of food, which sort of explains Mothra's decision to set up base in the Yunnan rainforest. The highest that the Toho incarnation of larval Mothra weighed was 15,000 metric tons, and given that the real-life monarch species of butterfly caterpillars consume 200 times their body weight, if a Mothra were to do the same, we're looking at a mind-boggling proportion of food. Luckily, there are never more than one, or in Toho canon, two baby Mothras at a time. Despite their caterpillar-like forms, the larval Mothras are extremely durable and powerful, able to plow through huge concrete structures and proving to be immune to conventional weaponry, as seen in 1964's Mothra vs. Godzilla. When Godzilla killed the parent Mothra, the Shobijin ushered in the twin Mothra offspring, who incapacitated Godzilla by spitting silk at him and trapping him in a cocoon, then tumbling him over into the ocean. This was recreated in Godzilla Tokyo SOS, when the larval twins trapped their mother's killer in a silken cocoon. In 1992's Godzilla vs. Mothra, a larval Mothra hatched early to take Godzilla head-on, while in 1994's Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, the 120-meter-long larval Mothra caused Godzilla pain by hitting him with her mandibles, chomping down on his chest first and then on his tail. In comics, Mothra's larva has also fought against the crustacean kaiju Destoroyah. Savage much, don't you think? In Monsterverse, we meet the larval Mothra at outpost number 61, which is a smart reference to 1961, the year Mothra made her on-screen debut. Before hatching, Mothra's egg began pulsating, with radiation levels soaring to absurd proportions as it was about to release a gigantic larva. Despite suddenly finding itself in an alien environment, the larva displayed a calm temperament till monarch officials attempted to create a laser barrier around the giant hatchling. The larva, which has thermal vision and can sense thermal radiation, immediately felt threatened and switched on its defensive mode. The larva changed its blue glow to a throbbing red, attacking the structures around it with its colossal legs. This larva was also able to use its mouth as a weapon, snatching up a guard and tossing him into the destruction. Enraged, the larva resorted to firing powerful streams of silk at the guards or letting out threatening growls and roars. When monarch scientist Emma Russell attempted to calm her down with the Orca device, she was unable to find the correct sonar frequency. This further angered the larva, prompting it to emit an orange bioluminescence glow. It backed up a little, only to charge back with a menacing intention by preparing its pincers, all ready to badger and pounce. However, the Orca finally managed to pacify Mothra, who allowed Emma's daughter Madison to reach out to her with her hand. When the eco-terrorist group led by Alan Jonah attacked the monarch facility, the Mothra larva escaped and cocooned itself behind a nearby waterfall. This brings us to Mothra's cocoon stage, when the larva is required to churn out humongous amounts of silk for a cocoon that can encase its colossal structure. If we're to draw comparisons between an average silkworm caterpillar and a Mothra larva, the latter can produce thousands of pounds of silk for a cocoon, while the former generates 1/3 of a gram of silk. Mothra's cocoon is not just a pretty shell and has displayed some unique aspects over the years. In 1961, Mothra's transformation into her imago state appeared to be expedited when the walls of the cocoon absorbed the blast of the atomic heat ray guns, and out came a fully grown Mothra with a wingspan of 250 meters, which is higher than the Monsterverse Mothra. The cocoon also acts as a protective shield, with the larva sometimes cocooning out of fear. Like in 1992, Mothra was forced to cocoon when attacked by the defense forces. The larva is also seen to cocoon while grieving, as seen in 1996's Rebirth of Mothra. When the larva lost its mother, it spun its silken shield around a 10,000-year-old Jomonsugi tree. By absorbing the tree's ancient energy through the cocoon, the larva transformed into a Mothra named Mothra Leo, who had some unique powers. In the 2019 Monsterverse movie, Mothra's cocoon was never fully revealed, but was shown through the curtain of a waterfall, when it appeared as a glowing blue pulsating structure, covering almost the entire height of the waterfall. By this time, Ghidorah had let out his alpha call to summon all of Earth's monsters to do his bidding. Sensing this alien threat and hearing his call, Mothra was forced to hatch early from her cocoon. Though Mothra was alarmed by Ghidorah's alpha call, and like the other monsters, she refused to bend to his will. How does Mothra manifest the God Rise in her Imago form? After her chrysalis transformation, Mothra is in her final, fully metamorphosed Imago form, which comes with pretty impressive stats, we must say. The first ability she displayed in her Imago form was the mythical God Rise, which dispersed Ghidorah's stormy clouds in the sky. She used her God Rise as a beacon to communicate Godzilla's underwater location to Monarch over the Castle Bravo outpost. The God Rays are concentrated beams of beta wave bioluminescence emitted from her gigantic thorax and projected through the intricate patterns on Mothra's wings. Deployed rather rarely, once per movie, Mothra's God Rays appear as a blinding force of golden and white light. While traditionally Mothra doesn't use the God Rays offensively, she used them to knock out Godzilla in Godzilla x Kong. When Kong arrived in Egypt to team up with Godzilla, the hot-headed king saw it as a threat and thus began Godzilla vs. Kong 2.0. When Godzilla had almost bludgeoned Kong to death and charged up for an ultimate blast of his atomic breath, Mothra arrived just in time and blasted away Godzilla with her God Rays before telling him to calm down and shake hands with Kong. It's only natural that Mothra will unleash her full potential in her Imago form, which also manifests in her durability and reflexes. In addition to her God Rays and Silk attacks, in the 2019 movie, Mothra fought with her clawed forelimbs, striking Rodan with them, before using her secret stinger as a last resort against Rodan, stabbing the monster through the chest. How Mothra Silk's spinning abilities are unique to the Kaiju universe. Mothra Silk's spinning abilities are quite a game-changer in the Kaiju universe, used both for protection and combat. That's her biggest weapon in her larval form, and her most used offensive tactic in her Imago form. It's her natural defensive ability. As we mentioned earlier, her streams of silk were powerful enough to incapacitate Godzilla and even encase him in a makeshift cocoon. In the Toho films, Mothra Silk was strong enough to thwart helicopter blades from whirring, and durable enough to withstand atomic heat gun rays for a long time. In Monsterverse, Mothra Silk is mighty enough to pin down Ghidorah's head to a high-rise in Boston, causing the alien baddie to struggle with all his strength to free them up. In Godzilla x Kong, during the zero-gravity battle in Hollow-Earth, Mothra took down several of Scar King's 8 minions with her silk attacks and pinned them to floating rocks, prompting Dr. Eileen Andrews to point out that Mothra is protecting the portals that lead to the surface. Does Mothra have regenerative abilities? While her bestie Godzilla ranks pretty high in this aspect, Mothra doesn't display the regenerative ability much in her lore, except for a variation or two. Mothra Leo from the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy underwent umpteen numbers of transformations, and one of them was his turning into the Armor Mothra. After Ghidorah incinerated Mothra's wings and severely wounded him in battle, Mothra Leo was forced into a cocoon by a band of primitive Mothras. When the cocoon hatched, out came a stronger, more durable Mothra who was immune to Ghidorah's gravity beams, which means inside the cocoon, Mothra Leo was able to recreate lost tissue and heal his wounds at a faster rate, thus confirming his regenerative ability. However, Monsterverse hasn't assigned this feature to Mothra yet. Interestingly, some previous Mothra incarnations could also unleash scales from her wings, which have healing powers, as was seen in the Godzilla anime trilogy. How does Mothra come back to life every time she dies? Mothra has always been reincarnated through new generations, which essentially means every Mothra larva is a new being, and not a resurrected version of the previous one. In that sense, Mothra's cycle of reincarnation mirrors that of a phoenix, echoing the theme of immortality and divinity. So, if you're wondering if it's the same Mothra that gets resurrected every time, the answer is no, which was explicitly seen in the case of Mothra Leo of the Mothra trilogy, who was born with a gamut of more abilities than his mother and was more combative and aggressive than the previous one. In her first Monsterverse appearance, Mothra gets incinerated by Ghidorah's gravity beams and dies a tragic but heroic death. However, her return was already set up by the movie, with the discovery of another Mothra egg in the Yunnan forest, thus carrying on the eternal cycle of Mothra laying an egg before she dies. And keeping their promise, Monsterverse did bring back a new Mothra in Godzilla x Kong. In King of the Monsters, Monarch discovered Mothra's egg in a Chinese mythological site, the Temple of the Moth, and later, another moth temple was discovered within Hollow-Earth in Godzilla x Kong. This indicates there may be several such sites dedicated to Mothra scattered across the world, and each one of these temples may have belonged to different incarnations of the Titan, which further points to the fact that Mothra has lived many lives, and her appearances in King of the Monsters and Godzilla x Kong are only some of them. is Mothra immortal? The answer is yes, in the sense that her immortality is established through her life cycle. In the Toho films, the Shobijin believed Mothra to be immortal because a new incarnation of her would be born after the previous one aged and perished, emerging from the asexually laid eggs. As per the mystical lore of Mothra, the new Mothra's birth would be timed in accordance with the aged Mothra's death. Monsterverse also re-establishes Mothra's immortality in her ability to asexually lay an egg, a process that would carry on the lineage forever. Mothra never really dies. She represents the eternal life of birth, life, death, and rebirth, and she knows it. Doherty had explained Mothra's immortality in a tweet, and each new Mothra incarnation would have the memories of her ancestors. In King of the Monsters, Mothra anticipated she may have to make the ultimate sacrifice in the final battle, and hence, before joining the monster mayhem in Boston, she flew off to a secret location in the Yunnan rainforest to safely lay her egg. Subsequently, in the credit scene in the movie, a news article revealed that monarchs found a giant egg within Mothra's territory. This setup, however, becomes slightly confusing in the context of Godzilla x Kong, as the Mothra in this movie appear to be slumbering within Hollow Earth. When asked to elaborate on the origins of this new Mothra, Godzilla x Kong director Adam Wingard said in an interview, "I don't want to necessarily tell people what she is. I have my own thoughts of what this version of Mothra is, but I think it'll be exciting to kinda let that unfold because I'm sure we'll explore more." Do the Mothra incarnations share the same consciousness? In the context of the Toho films, it's debatable whether every new Mothra incarnation bears the memories of their predecessors, but thematically, they are all born with the same consciousness of being the divine protector of Earth. All the Toho films in which Mothra died have the strong theme of natural order being challenged and nature fighting back in retaliation. So, when the parent Mothra died, the new hatchlings carried on her role as the guardian of Earth. This shows in the Toho films, the Mothra generation shared the common belief that nature cannot be defeated. Does Mothra retain all previous memories after her rebirth? Monsterverse explored this aspect with a scientific explanation saying that Mothra incarnations inherit their predecessors' exact memories through genetic transfer. This could mean, when an egg is produced, the memories of the parent Mothra, who already has the memories of her ancestors, are genetically downloaded into the embryo, fertilizing within the egg. Pretty cool. Michael Doherty confirmed this in a tweet, saying, "I like the idea that her memories are passed on genetically. This is why each new Mothra has the inert instinct to help Godzilla. She remembers her symbiotic relationship with Godzilla since the ancient times, and jumps to aid the king every time he needs a last-minute power booster." Mothra's symbiosis with Godzilla is a gift to fans. Let's explore the nature of Godzilla and Mothra's symbiosis with some bizarrely brilliant fan theories. Some fans think that Mothra and Godzilla's symbiosis works because they make up for each other's shortcomings, such as Godzilla makes up for Mothra's comparatively smaller size, while Mothra provides aerial support to him with her flight power. Some fans also talk about a hypothetical understanding between the two monsters, in which Mothra guarded Godzilla's nests and eggs on land, as the alpha kaiju would mostly be out in the oceans, and in exchange, Godzilla shared resources with the benevolent Titan species. Mothra's protective nature toward Godzilla is explored in detail in her Monsterverse appearances. In 2019, Mothra made the ultimate sacrifice by shielding Godzilla from a full blast of Ghidorah's gravity beams, and got completely burnt in the process. As Mothra was reduced to nothing, her life force, a fine dust of glowing blue, showered down on the fallen Godzilla, powering up the king to become a burning version of himself. This power transfer enabled Godzilla to release thunderous nuclear pulse attacks, which manifested in the shape of Mothra, and also sounded like her cries. These attacks were so powerful that the radiation caused Ghidorah, who was an invincible villain just moments ago, to melt away. In the sequel novel, Godzilla realized that by transferring her mystical abilities, Mothra enabled him to feel the planet as a living entity, something which he regarded as a gift. Mothra's telepathic abilities are central to her lore. As we told you before, in the Toho films, Mothra would traditionally be accompanied by the fairy twins called Shobijin, who communicated with humans on her behalf. This mystical element wasn't left out of Mothra's lore in Monsterverse, and was subtly represented by the twin sisters Dr. Eileen and Dr. Ling in the 2019 movie. The twin sisters are monarch scientists who study ancient kaiju-related mythology and believe that myth is our compass to coexist with monsters such as Godzilla and Mothra in present times. Eileen and Ling belong belong to the Chen family, which has twin sisters born into each generation of the family, sort of representing the Shobijin. Mothra is believed to have a psychic connection with the Chen family twins since ancient times, as seen in the photos of older Chen family twins exploring Mothra's site on Infant Island in 1961. It's the Chen sisters who guided Monarch into discovering Mothra's egg in the Temple of the Ma. The Iwis do not speak, and are known to communicate with each other telepathically. As their guardian, Mothra also has a telepathic connection with the Iwis. In Godzilla x Kong, this connection is established through Jia, the only surviving member of the Iwis from Skull Island. After Mothra died in 2019's King of the Monsters, her comeback was highly anticipated in Godzilla x Kong. Adding to the hype, an Iwi prophecy explained that Mothra can only return when an Iwi from Skull Island summons this divine titan. Jia turned out to be the key to Mothra's awakening, thus mirroring the Shobijin's ability to summon the Queen of Monsters. With her psychic abilities, Mothra explained to Godzilla that he needs to team up with Kong and fight the battle against his ancient enemy, Scar King. This results in a beautiful scene in Cairo, where Jia smiles at Godzilla standing atop a sphinx with Mothra telepathically sharing the battle plan with her fellow monsters. In the 2019 movie, when Godzilla was almost dead from the oxygen destroyer, Mothra was able to telepathically reach out to him, telling him that all hope is not lost and help is on the way. Exploring Mothra's subtle new powers in Godzilla x Kong. In the New Empire, the new Mothra Incarnation didn't transfer any powers to her bestie, but she did aid him in the zero-gravity battle within Hollow Earth. In case you missed it, when Shimo had almost converted Godzilla into an ice sculpture with her frost breath, Mothra launched an unusual attack that disrupted the stream of Shimo's icy blasts, presumably through her silk blasts. While this was a blink-and-miss moment for viewers, it's a huge feat for a titan of Mothra's stature, because cutting through Shimo's ice blasts is no joke. Shimo's frosty blasts are powerful enough to freeze up the entire Earth, something which caused the last ice age. Shimo's ice breath gave Kong a frostbite and almost destroyed his arm, and Mothra was able to thwart that icy breath, enabling Godzilla to break free and charge back at Shimo. Amidst all the zero-gravity hullabaloo, Mothra also managed to save the Hollow Earth vehicle carrying Jia from crashing into the abyss within Hollow Earth. Another ability that the Godzilla x Kong Mothra displayed was creating an organic shield around the Iwi settlement within Hollow Earth. A brand new tribe of the Iwi survived in the Hollow Earth by manipulating gravity with their crystal technology. And as the protector of the Iwi tribe, Mothra concealed this race that comes from an ancient lineage by casting a sheath around the entrance of their settlement, which is essentially a temple dedicated to Mothra. The ending of Godzilla x Kong showed Mothra recreating the protective curtain, which was previously destroyed by what appears to be her silk spinning abilities. Appearing as a throbbing blue web, the sheath was discovered to be emitting a bioelectric hum. How Mothra Remains the Queen of Monsters. Conceptualized in 1961, Toho introduced the benevolent Mothra at a time when all other kaiju operated with the intention of wreaking havoc, especially the stomping metaphor of nuclear weapons, Godzilla. Mothra, in contrast, symbolized hope, trust, and faith in a universe riddled with menacing monsters. Mothra was assigned the stature of a goddess by placing her origins in Infant Island, a world still untouched by modernity. Mothra's divinity elevated her to the status of the Queen of Monsters, who is selflessly concerned with protecting nature's balance. She thus became the sole savior amongst a menagerie of monsters who only threatened the planet. Before Godzilla changed his reputation from the destroyer of humanity to the protector of humankind, Mothra had fought off the G-Men on various occasions and even died in the process. Mothra was so obsessed with guarding all sentient beings that she once sealed off one of her own kind, a dark counterpart named Batra, to prevent it from attacking a civilization. In a masculine monster universe, Mothra was established as the single feminine entity, with her femininity being crucial to her lore. Over the years, Mothra has retained her queen-like stature through her ability to lead and her willingness to sacrifice her own life for the greater good. She reasserted her position as the Queen of the Monsters by defying King Ghidorah's alpha calls, and even attempted to aggressively fight Ghidorah, very well knowing she would perish in his attacks. Mothra has sacrificed herself innumerable times to save the world, and returned time and time again to achieve the same goal, Earth's protection. Another gracious trait of Mothra that adds to her queen title is, in a world where monsters and humans are only concerned about themselves, Mothra rises above all by prioritizing the world at large. How does Mothra's personality differ from other kaiju in the Godzilla series? Monsterverse describes Mothra as the mother of the natural world and assigns her the title of a protector in an ecosystem, which has witnessed the emergence of titans such as Scylla, Behemoth, and Methuselah, following Ghidorah's alpha call in the 2019 movie. She stands out from other kaiju with her sole motive of serving the planet, and only resorting to violence in the face of earth-shattering threats. Mothra's appearance in myths and folklore, and the many cave paintings and temples dedicated to her, suggest that she's a titan titan who's capable of peacefully coexisting with humanity within the same ecosystem. Mothra is also the giver of life, as was exhibited by Mothra Leo in the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. After fighting an exhausting kaiju battle that destroyed the Hokkaido rainforest, Mothra Leo restored the lush vegetation with his replenishing pulsaphonic shower. In Godzilla x Kong, Mothra ensured that the indigenous Iwi tribe remained hidden from the surface world in order to preserve their uniqueness, thus fulfilling her role as the nurturer of an ecosystem. Marvelous verdict. Mothra is the undisputed queen of monsters who can school Godzilla and get away with it. Mothra's many roles as the protector, the nurturer, the peacemaker, and the leader has contributed to her enduring popularity, making her the second most favored Toho monster after Godzilla. While Mothra played the part of a feisty combatant in King of the Monsters, the recently released Godzilla x Kong limited her role to a negotiator, which makes us a tad bit sad, but also a great deal hopeful that she may return with a gamut of adventures in her next MonsterVerse appearance. No wonder Godzilla x Kong ends with Mothra's roar, which more than makes up for the missing post-credit scene. What do you think of this Goddess Titan's latest incarnation? Please share with us in the comments below. We promise to see you soon with more kaiju content. Till then, if you happen to read about a winged creature in a book or hear of a being that casts a blinding light, do take it as a sign that Mothra is trying to reach you. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.